Alright, so I'm going to start a huge, big series on understanding DNA so you can start to build up to taking DNA and building proteins, okay? So, understanding what DNA is, okay? Now, let's go over some simple shapes that you may see. Sometimes you'll have this classic twisting ladder like this, okay? They call this a twisted ladder. Technically, it's called the double helix. Never really saw too many people get hung up on what they call it. Mostly you just need to know the shape of it. Now they can untwist it and it just looks like a ladder. So this is a twisted version and here is the untwisted version. But these are the classic shapes you see in biology. Okay, what we're going to focus on today, or what essentially is what holds the two sides of the DNA together. So you can see here, um, they call them the backbone. These parts right here, they call them the backbones. Okay, we're not going to really study too much. There's one backbone there, of course. There's a backbone there, and these two are backbones as well. Okay, we're we're not going to focus on those. We're going to focus on what is holding essentially this DNA together in the middle. Okay, so I'm drawing in this right here. We're going to look at what's holding these together. Okay, and so there are four bases you need to know. Now I can go into going through the backbone, and telling you what a nucleotide is, and telling you what a sugar, a ribose sugar, and then a base is. But that's just doing a whole lot of extra. Okay, but let's learn what these four bases are. Okay, and you will need to memorize these. Okay, so the first one is adenosine. Okay, or excuse me, adenosine, adenine, adenine. Okay. And it typically, we always represent it by a letter A. Okay, next one is cytosine. Okay, and it is represented by letter C. Then guanine. Okay, guanine, G. And then thymine is the last one. Okay. Now, these are the four nitrogen bases that make up DNA. Okay, I emphasize that they make up DNA because when we get to RNA, it'll be a little bit different. So these are the four bases that make up DNA. You need to memorize these. Okay, and so let's take that DNA ladder we just had up there and let's start to build. Okay, so we have the backbone here. I'm not going to go into what the backbone is, but in the middle we have these bases, and I'm just going to abbreviate them with their letters. Okay, and this is no particular order. This is totally random. Okay, but let's just put a few letters here. Okay, all right, and so essentially what we've done is we've ripped half of the DNA apart. Okay, because it should be in a ladder. So this is one half of the ladder. Okay, so we need to stick the other half of the ladder of the DNA together. And this is where you need to memorize this, okay? These nitrogen bases bond to each other. Bond, stick, pair together a certain specific way, okay? So you need to make sure that you know these, okay? So there's a little way to remember it. Apple in the tree. So A and T bond, and then car in the garage. Now that can also be for the reverse, G to C, T to A, but apple, tree, car, garage. That is how they bond together. So when you're building the other half of this side of this DNA, you'll start right here. You have an A, apple, what goes with apple? Tree. Car, what goes with car? Garage. Okay, now you can start to see the other side of the DNA forming. Remember, two sides. Garage, car, tree, apple, apple, tree, garage, car, car, garage, tree, apple. And now you can see here, folks, we have the other side of the DNA. We have two sides now, okay? Obviously, this is side 1 right here, and this is the side 2. To help you kind of assimilate that, basically you're looking at this. This is one side, and this is the second side, okay? So that is pretty much going to be the first part of this series, is understanding that you need to know these 4. They're called, they're also called, excuse me, I should have already illustrated that. They're called the nitrogen bases, okay? Sometimes people just say, they just call them the bases, but adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine, okay? Those are the 4 that build DNA, and they bond a certain way. All right, that's basically all you need to know for this part 1, is understanding how the simple structure of DNA is and how it is bonded together. In the future, what we will do is we will split this down the middle and build proteins with them, and also replicate the DNA. So, but that's for another time, guys. That's pretty much it. Make sure you get those 4 memorized. All right, thank you.